Here's a number that should stop you cold: over 300,000 points. That's not one player's career. That's not even close. That's 10 men combined who scored more points than the entire populations of some small countries. 10 careers, 7 decades, one single sport. You think you already know who the greatest scorers in NBA history are. You've seen the highlight reels, the dunks, the buzzer beaters. But highlights only show you for a split second. They never show you the real story, the full career totals, the decades of showing up night after night, the points that kept piling up year after year after year, in regular seasons, in playoffs, in the biggest moments the sport has ever produced. The 10 men on this list are the greatest scoring black players in NBA history. They built these numbers in different eras, using completely different tools and styles. Some were smooth and quiet, some were loud and physical. But every single one of them ended up in the same place, at the very top of a list that only the truly exceptional ever reach. Here's the countdown, from number 10 all the way to number 1. Subscribe right now, because by the time we hit number 1, you'll have walked through more than 300,000 points of pure basketball history, and the ending might genuinely give you chills. Number 10, Carmelo Anthony, 28,289 points. Carmelo Anthony entered the league in 2003 with a kind of scoring gift that coaches simply cannot teach. You don't build that. You just watch it happen and try to build a team around it. His whole game lived in the mid-range, that smooth pull-up jumper, the step-back move that created space out of thin air. His footwork near the elbow was so precise, so automatic, that defenders who knew exactly what was coming still couldn't stop it from happening anyway. He won 10 scoring titles. He played for the United States in 4 Olympic Games and won 3 gold medals. He spent 19 seasons in the NBA, moving between teams, adjusting his game piece by piece as his body aged, and somehow he just kept scoring anyway. 28,289 career points. Every single one earned the exact same way, through raw talent, sharp technical skill, and a stubborn competitive streak that never asked whether a shot was easy. It only asked whether the shot would go in. Number 9, Shaquille O'Neal, 28,596 points. If Carmelo's scoring was all about precision, Shaquille O'Neal's scoring was about pure inevitability. There was no defensive plan on earth that could consistently stop Shaq once he got into position. At his peak, he weighed around 325 pounds, and somehow still moved with an agility those numbers should never have allowed. When he caught the ball down low, defending him came down to one simple truth. You couldn't stop him. You could slow him down a little. You could foul him. But stopping him from scoring entirely was never really an option. He won 4 NBA championships. He was named Finals MVP 3 separate times. He was named the league's most valuable player in 2000. He dominated for over a decade straight, first in Orlando, then in Los Angeles, then in several more stops as his game shifted from pure explosion to something slower, heavier, and just as powerful. 28,596 career points. Built on top of one of the most physically overwhelming presences this game has ever seen. Number 8, James Harden, 29,339 points. James Harden did something no player in NBA history had ever done before him. He turned the step-back three-point shot into a true primary weapon at the very highest level of the game. That sounds simple. It absolutely is not. A step-back creates space from a defender in a fraction of a second. Landing balanced enough afterward to shoot accurately, from long range, under real defensive pressure over and over again, night after night, requires a skill level that most professional players simply do not have. Harden led the entire league in scoring for multiple seasons straight, his 2018-19 season averaging 36.1 points a game, stands as one of the greatest individual scoring seasons the modern game has ever produced. He also drew fouls at such a high rate that the free throw line became a massive part of his scoring total. A skill in itself that took precise footwork, sharp body awareness, and a real willingness to absorb contact. 29,339 career points, and still climbing since Harden continues to play and add to that total. Number 7, Wilt Chamberlain, 31,419 points. On March 2nd, 1962, in Hershey, Pennsylvania, Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points in one single game. Not 50, not 60, Not even 80, 100. That game didn't take place in a major media market. There was no national broadcast. There's no real video footage today, beyond a single blurry photograph. The whole thing lives on purely through the box score, the handful of witnesses who were actually there, and the sheer impossibility of that number itself. Wilt Chamberlain scored 50 or more points in a single game 118 separate times across his career. He averaged an unbelievable 4 points per game across the entire 1961-62 season. No player in the history of professional basketball has ever come remotely close to that average over a full season. He finished his career with 31,419 points, which is remarkable considering he retired at just 36 years old, with a shorter career than most of the men around him on this very list. The sheer rate at which he scored remains one of the most extraordinary things in the entire history of this game. Subscribe here, because the next 4 players on this list didn't just score points. They physically pushed the entire sport forward and changed what scoring in the NBA even looked like. Number 6, Michael Jordan, 32,292 points. The argument over who the greatest basketball player of all time actually is has been going on for 30 straight years now. And it almost always ends up landing on Michael Jordan. He won 6 NBA championships, 6 Finals MVP awards, 5 regular season MVP awards. He won 10 scoring titles, more than any player in NBA history. His championship teams went a perfect 6-0 in every finals appearance. He never once lost a series after reaching the finals. But Jordan's greatness was never just about trophies and titles sitting on a shelf. It showed up in the texture of his actual game, the way he attacked a defense from every possible angle. The explosive first step created separation almost before a defender could even react. The defensive intensity that made him just as much of a threat to steal the ball as his opponent was to score one. 32,292 career points, built across 15 seasons that included 2 separate retirements, a detour into minor league baseball, and a comeback that reminded absolutely everyone why the number 23 meant something very specific in Chicago. Number 5, Kevin Durant, 32,597 points. Kevin Durant stands 7 feet tall and shoots like a guard. That combination genuinely shouldn't exist. At 7 feet tall, you're expected to live down in the paint. You're expected to use your size to bully your way to easy shots. You're expected to stay within about 10 feet of the basket at all times. Durant shoots from absolutely everywhere. From the three-point line, from the mid-range, from the post, from step backs that his sheer length makes almost impossible to guard, since his release point sits far above the reach of any defender who might contest the exact same shot from a shorter player. He's won 2 NBA championships. He was named Finals MVP in both of those series. He's made the All-NBA first team multiple times. His scoring efficiency, meaning how well he converts his shot attempts into actual points, ranks among the very best in history for a player who shoots as often as he does. 32,597 career points, and still growing since Durant continues playing in 2026, adding to a total that already places him among the most gifted pure scorers this sport has ever produced. Number 4, Kobe Bryant, 33,643 points. In 2008, Kobe Bryant stood at center court in Los Angeles, holding the league's Most Valuable Player award. He was 29 years old. He'd already spent 12 full seasons learning, adjusting, and sharpening a game that had started out as raw talent and slowly turned into something close to complete mastery. He spent all 20 seasons of his career with the Los Angeles Lakers, one single team, his entire career. He won 5 NBA championships. He made 18 All-Star teams. In 2006, he scored 81 points in one single game, the second highest total ever recorded in NBA history, trailing only Wilt Chamberlain's legendary 100. On April 13, 2016, in his very last game before retiring, Kobe Bryant scored 60 points, his final professional game. His final professional statement to the entire sport. 33,643 career points built across 2 decades in the exact same jersey, in front of the exact same crowd, wearing the same 2 numbers, 8 and 24, both of which now hang retired in the rafters of the arena where he played every single home game of his career. Number 3, Karl Malone, 36,928 points. Karl Malone was nicknamed the Mailman. The name came from one simple idea. He always delivered. He played 19 seasons, almost entirely for the Utah Jazz. He was never flashy. He rarely scored in ways that made for the flashiest highlight reels. What he did instead was show up every single game, every single season, for nearly 2 decades straight, and score in whatever way was most effective on that particular night. He was named the league's most valuable player twice. He made 14 All-Star teams. He played in 2 separate NBA Finals. He won Olympic gold twice. His post-game, using his size and precise footwork to carve out space near the basket, remains one of the most consistently productive offensive tools any power forward has ever had in this sport. 36,928 career points. Second on this entire list, behind only the man directly above him, a record he actually held for 34 straight years before it was finally broken. Number 2, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 38,387 points. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had a signature shot that nobody else in basketball history has ever been able to fully copy. The skyhook, released at the very peak of his jump, from a release point so high and so far from the rim that blocking it required standing in a completely different spot than you would to defend any other shot in the game. Defenders always knew exactly when it was coming. They still couldn't stop it. He played 20 full seasons, 6 NBA championships, 1 in Milwaukee and 5 more in Los Angeles, 6 MVP awards, the most in NBA history, 19 All-Star selections. He won a title in his very first season and again in his very last one. For 34 years after he retired back in 1989, his record of 387 career points stood as the highest total in NBA history. No player had ever scored that many points across an entire career. For decades, that record looked completely permanent. It wasn't. Number 1, LeBron James, 43,440 points. On February 7th, 2023, in Los Angeles, LeBron James passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's 34-year-old scoring record. He scored his 38,388th career point, officially becoming the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. Both teams paused. Even the players actively trying to beat him that night stopped to acknowledge exactly what had just happened in front of them. LeBron James began his professional career in 2003 at just 18 years old, arriving in Cleveland as the most hyped rookie since Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. He was immediately, unmistakably exceptional. And unlike almost every other elite player in basketball history, his game never simply peaked and then slowly declined. It changed. It adjusted. It became something genuinely different at 35 than it had been at 23, yet somehow remained just as effective throughout. He's won 4 NBA championships with 3 completely different franchises: Cleveland, Miami, and Los Angeles. He's been named Finals MVP 4 times. He's been named the league's regular season MVP 4 times. He's made the All-NBA first team an incredible 13 times. And the scoring simply never stopped, even after breaking the record. Past 39,000 points, past 40,000, past 41,000, past 42,000. By the end of the 2025-26 NBA season, LeBron James had scored 43,440 career points, a number nobody else in the history of this entire sport has ever reached. A number that is still actively growing right now as you watch this. He is still playing. 10 players, spanning 7 full decades of professional basketball. From Wilt Chamberlain's impossible 100-point night in Hershey, Pennsylvania, back in 1962, all the way to LeBron James, still adding to his total in 2026. The game itself changed completely around each of them. The rules changed. Defensive schemes changed entirely. The three-point line was introduced. The pace of play sped up dramatically. Analytics reshaped how every team in the league builds its offense from scratch. And through every single one of those changes, these 10 men just kept scoring anyway, generation after generation, era after era, never slowing down for long. So, which player on this list do you think was truly the purest scorer of his entire era? Drop your answer in the comments below and subscribe. because the history of this incredible game is still being written, and LeBron James clearly hasn't finished writing his own chapter of it just yet.